Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. here in New Vienna. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Friday, January 15th, 2021, and it is snowing again. Today was like the first time I was like, no more snow, please. No more snow. Because I had a really fun snow run today, like the third or fourth snow run that I've had this week here, and they're just so tiring and exhausting. Today was supposed to be a recovery day for me, but I was out back in New Wine Park and just trying to get through. We had like 4 inches of wet, heavy, soggy snow. It looked beautiful. It was like stuck on the trees and everything, but just exhausting to run through. And like today, I've just been dragging my feet everywhere. Played with the girls outside for lunch or for recess. And since it's Friday, they want to play again after the live stream today. So I'm going to have to. I get to do that later. So that's a lot of fun, but I'm just so tired. I'm like, no more snow for a little while. I mean, I'm trying to like also just encourage the girls to go outside and enjoy it though, because when we go back to Chicago next weekend, we won't really. I don't think we can play in snow. Normally we play like in Lincoln Park, or in the park by the lakefront, but I don't think that that's permitted anymore. Right, at least not right now. So like, they better get it in while they can. So we're gonna do that today. See their cousins kind of. I don't know if it'll be like their last time, but do some playing with their cousins outside before we head out. So it's like, I don't know, it kind of just snuck up on me. I mean, we've been here for 6 months and in Iowa for like 7. So it's not really sneaking up on me coming back, but it kind of is. I haven't done any packing at all. So there's that. What's going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? Hope you had good runs. Everyone listening on the podcast version, welcome, and hope you're having a good run today. And everyone watching this on YouTube later, not live, welcome to you guys too. Glad to have you guys here. Frank is here early. He was early. This chat is from 2:35 before the live stream started, but he has a question. Says, if you have your base mileage at 70-ish miles a week, what do you set as peak mileage for a marathon training block? I think that's going to vary a lot depending on the person and what your base mileage 70 miles kind of looks like. So for me, what that looks like is that I probably will get to like the 80s and hit like a lot of 80-mile weeks, probably towards the middle / like the 2/3 mark of the marathon training block. And I mean, marathon training writing for me is still kind of something that I'm learning and figuring out. But that's kind of where I like it, to have the higher mileage there. And then I will come down a little bit from that as I get close to like peak week, because I want to put in more intensity there. So like if your 70 miles a week is already consists of like a lot of like workouts and stuff like that already, I don't know that I wouldn't be able to handle much higher than that. But if the 70 miles is all like super easy, then you might be able to load up even more and also have some workouts in there. But I think it's going to depend a lot on what your body is going to be able to tolerate in terms of additional work. If you're running 70 miles a week, you probably don't need to work a ton more. I mean, from a non-elite perspective, I mean, I feel like a lot of non-elites they're running 70 miles a week. Their aerobic systems are pretty good, and you want to focus on speed work. So it might even go down for some people if that are doing that 70 miles a week. For me, I don't think that. I mean, I don't know. This is the year that I might like really test the theory even further. Like, I don't think that I respond completely all that well to speed work. I respond to speed work in the fact that like if I train for a 5K, I'll get better at 5K. But like when I train for a 5K, it doesn't make me better at the marathon. That's kind of how I've been operating for a little while. And so I'm open to the idea of challenging that, but I wouldn't go a ton more. I wouldn't go up to like 100 miles a week if I was at 70. So hopefully, I mean, I don't know. I think there could be a lot of opinions on that. And this is here. Says, hi, Kofuzi and everyone. Good to see you. John is here as well. Says, had a really lazy day today. Hope I get myself out for a run tomorrow. Really struggling to find the motivation to get into a routine lately. I think that's where a lot of people are, John. I don't think you're the only one. I've been seeing a lot of like motivation type of posts on Instagram and Twitter, which kind of tells me that a lot of people are struggling with it. So I don't think you're alone. I think that we're in that part of the winter. For those of us that are in winter in the Northern Hemisphere, where it's like, like the buzz of the holidays is over, the novelty of snow is starting to fade, and so it's like, oh, now it's just cold. So how do you deal with that? So a lot of that like seasonal affective disorder, that kind of thing, I think is starting to affect people. So I mean, I think the one thing to keep in mind is, that just could be your body's way of saying like, hey, we're not firing on all cylinders, so take it a little bit easy on us. But at some point you got to kick yourself out of that rut if you're in a rut. Not to say that you're in a rut, but if you get there, don't wallow in it too long. That's kind of how I feel about it. Carlos says, hi, community. What's going on, Carlos? And Chris House here as well. Happy that it's Friday. Awesome. Steven Girdor, good to see you, Steven. AJ said, I had my first low heart rate training run today, and I had to go slow. Well, that makes sense. I think my mile pair is around 6 minutes, but today I was walking about 12-minute miles. I'd say that's about right. I mean, that's kind of like, that was my exact same experience too. I think my first like low heart rate runs were a little bit slower than that. I mean, I think at the beginning I was able to kind of like keep it under control at like 11-minute miles, 10-minute something miles. But then after like 20 minutes, heart rate just shot up and I had a hard time. So I think that's normal. And I think I saw something else saying, yeah, Frank was saying, stick with it. It'll get better. It will. It takes a while, but what you're experiencing isn't unusual. Martha's here. What's going on, Martha? How are you? And JC and Runner Dre and Roberto Davila are here as well. Good to see you guys. Quick programming note. So the summit, this thing started today. It started at noon. So I think 4 hours ago. I think because they're going off the East Coast time. I'm going to be talking at it tomorrow. My session is at 1. It's 2:00, but I'm guessing I have to verify. I should really double check this. But my session's at 2, but I think that's 2 Eastern. So I'm at 1:00. But because I'll be doing that, I'm not going to do a live stream tomorrow. And then Sunday we're driving and we're going back to Chicago. So this will be the last live stream today until Monday. So we'll do on Monday, but I'll have a couple of days where I won't see you guys, just to let you guys know. Rick says, what's going on? Rick says, hey, Zico, Wind, fellow. Oh, hello. Heiko and fellow Kofuzians. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you too, Rick. Carlos says, kind of a seasonal, don't really run that much or much at all because of other sports during the winter. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are like that. I think that a lot of people are discovering winter running. It seems like, every year I say like, this is the year where everyone's going to be doing winter running. But this is a year where I saw more like how to layer for winter running, like those kinds of videos. I've seen more of those than ever. So I'm thinking like it's building a mass, like a critical. I don't think we're at like critical mass yet. We're getting close to that. Maybe next year will be the year where everyone's running all winter long. But I'm a big fan of it. Set Nomad said, I had my first 1.5 hour run yesterday. Did 18.5K. I'm very happy with it. It was fun. Awesome. 18.5K for an hour and a half. That's speedy. Nice work. Good job. I'm glad you like it. And congratulations on one of your longest runs. Great work. Vegan Runner says, happy Friday, everybody. What's going on, Vegan Runner? Good to see you. What's that sound? I hear some sirens. It's rare to hear sirens around here. Usually it's an ambulance. But I think that's coming from... I can't tell if that's a toy or if that's actually happening around here. I think it's happening around here. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was an ambulance. Just going by from Edgewood, which is up that way. All right. Cooper says, I struggle running in the cold, even though cold for my area is just 45 degrees. I mean, I think that probably means that like then it just doesn't get that cold. And I think that cold or as cold as it gets wherever you are, it's chilly. And I mean, I think unless it's like, in like certain places in Florida, I had a Zoom call with some of my buddies yesterday, and one was in Austin, and he was just like, yeah, he's like, sometimes I find it hard to like motivate myself to go outside, wake up. I walk out to my garage. We built a home gym in there. I open the door and it's like 65 degrees and a nice breeze. And I'm like, are we complaining about this or what? But then I was like, it's Austin. So, 65 is probably warm for winter, but it does get colder. And whatever, cold is relative. So like, a lot of people like to play knifey spoony with cold. They're like, that's not cold. This is cold. I'll tell you where I run. But I think that wherever you are, whatever is cold for you, that's cold, and it's hard for anyone to get out when it's cold. So, I mean, I don't think you need to like qualify it with like, even though cold for my area is just 45 degrees. I think cold is cold. So, I wouldn't mind 45 degrees. It was 30 degrees here, and I was hot. But just because it's been so much colder than that lately, so it's all relative. Yeah, Martha says, I do not like getting very sweaty, and sometimes not at all in winter. Yeah, I mean, getting sweaty in the winter is very weird and very uncomfortable. Yeah, Mark was saying all those sirens was the cops. I mean, if it were, it wouldn't be local police. It would have to be a sheriff, because this town defunded their police department several years ago. So it's not this town's cops, or at least not in the sense of police. It would have to be a county or a state level authority. But there's that. It's not relevant. I just like to kind of point that fact out. Any chance I get. Let's see. Sammy says, I love winter running. Thank you for a video about runner's knee. All right, cool. I'm glad. Hopefully you don't have runner's knee, but in case you do, hopefully it helps you. I don't know if it'll help everybody, because I'm not a medical professional, but that's what I did. Maybe I accidentally got there, or maybe I don't know, treated something that wasn't runner's knee, but it made me feel better. So, but I also enjoy winter running. I don't like the cold, but I do like the winter running. It's a weird situation. I don't know. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, run or dry. Cold is relative for sure. Let's see. Joni says, anytime it's too cold for shorts, then it's too cold. I mean, some people wear the shorts all year round. I've seen it. I mean, I remember there was a guy in high school in New Jersey that wore shorts every single day to school. I remember that. And even on like in the winter when it was snowing, and he was like that guy. And I thought that was unusual. And then I moved to the Midwest for college, and then I just kind of stayed here after that. And it came to my attention that in the Midwest, every school had that guy. So, I mean, there's some people that are just always shorts guys. Gustavo said, down in College Station, Texas, I was loving running in our first snow at 30 degrees Fahrenheit in 3 or 4 years. Wow. I mean, that's cold for College Station. I mean, it normally doesn't get like that down there. Stevie76 says, Winnipeg is cold. I know. I mean, I don't personally know, but I'm aware of like some of the temperatures they get up there. Ooh, that's rough. That's really rough. Benoit says, feel lucky it's relatively mild in England and not a problem to run all season. Yeah, I think we talked about this before too, when I just see a lot of people in England running, and they're still like in the wintertime, like back when there were races year round, people would show up to races in like singlets and half tights in the winter, and like a pair of thin gloves. And I was like, I know it's a race, and for races people like, really pare down, but still, there's no way I can run like that here. So I am envious of that. And then, as far as in England, I was watching Dan Runs, and he was saying that he was having problems getting something shipped to him because of Brexit. Did that go into effect like January? This is how clueless I am to world events, but did that go into effect on January 1st? Is that like a big deal? Is it hard to like get stuff now? I mean, I've been seeing grumblings here and there, like on Twitter as well, but yeah, it's something that, I mean, in the U.S., we're always pretty obsessed with ourselves here in terms of what dominates the news cycle. But, and I feel like, this is the one time we're probably justified in being a little bit oblivious to what else is going on in the world. But I feel like that's a big deal, and I haven't really heard much about it. But I've also been avoiding a lot of news, so maybe that's what it is. Frank says, the only thing about the weather here in the winter is that it swings from 25 in the morning to 65 in the afternoon. That's a big swing. That's a very big swing. That's the kind of swing that would basically make me catch a cold really quickly. Steve 76 says, put down your weapon. It's a selfie stick. Yeah. Yeah, I do worry that at some point, like if I were like running, like sometimes when it was like closer to hunting season, I was worried that people were going to think that I was trying to like do some sort of weird hunting thing. And I'd have to be like, it's just a GoPro. Like I was worried about that. Fortunately, it didn't come up. But lately, since hunting season's like been over, I've been seeing so many deer. Yesterday, I saw like there was this one, like I came over a hill and then you could see real far out ahead of you, and there was like another ridge up on the horizon, and I could see a literal dozen deer. Just like the snow had been melting, and so like what was left of the corn stalks was there, and they were out just having some snacks in the morning, and I could see them, and they kind of could see and hear me, I guess, coming. And they kind of looked at me for a little while, and then they just went back right on to eating. But it was like a dozen deer. It was crazy. There's a lot of them. There's just so many deer over here still. Mark says, I want that Peg Trail Gore-Tex now because it looks so cool in the videos. No snow trails here in Orlando. Yeah, I mean, that would be, it might be overkill for Orlando. Orlando would be an area where I would think you want the water to drain out versus trying to keep the rain out. But, I mean, you could always get the Peg Trail non-Gore-Tex. So that's certainly an option. What's always been interesting to me, anytime I do a video on a Gore-Tex shoe, I get a lot of comments asking about like, how is it in hot weather? And I was like, where are you from? After a while, I got so many of them. Like, this is a winter shoe. I mean, I don't understand why people are asking about hot weather. And so I just started asking people like, where are you that you want to know about it in hot weather? And it would, like, a lot of times it would be people in like Southeast Asia, places where it's just like hot and tropical all the time. And I was just like, for that kind of weather, get something that dries fast. Don't worry about keeping the water out. But like when I did like the Peg Turbo Shield reviews, I got a lot. People were like, ooh, I want that one. And people were like, I'm going to wear that in like tropical times. I'm like, you don't want a shoe that doesn't breathe. I mean, Gore-Tex breathe is what it's, that's one of the part of the miraculousness of it. But it doesn't breathe like a knit material or like a synthetic material that's intended to dry fast. So, I mean, I don't know. But yeah, Peg Trails. I mean, I haven't tried the regular version, but I don't know that they're very different. Alan says it's summer in New Zealand, so I'm looking forward to winter running. Yeah, I mean, it's grass is greener, right? When it's summer and you're like dying of heat, you're like, oh, I wish it would just cool down a little bit. And now I'm like, I wouldn't mind. Like, I really in the mood to. I would like to really go for like even it doesn't have to get a lot warmer, but like I'm looking forward to like full like long tights and shorts weather. That's we're probably a good 5 or 6 weeks away from that here. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the weather's going to be like in Chicago. I haven't really been looking at it too much. January into February is usually like kind of like the depth of winter over there. So it could be real bad. Steven says 40 degrees Fahrenheit is a perfect temp. What do you think is a perfect temp for running? Yeah, I'd say about 45 to 50 degrees. Because then you can like whatever you like to run in, that's what you can run in. If you want to run in half tights and a singlet and then light gloves, that'll work. If you want to run in like what I was saying, like long tights and shorts, and then just like a tech tee on top, that'll work. So I like 45 degrees. 50 degrees is also pretty nice too once you get into like shorts weather. Yeah, like anywhere between like 40 and 60 is kind of like my sweet spot. But for a lot of that, I'd probably be wearing gloves, like thin gloves. Bowie says, I like winter running because I feel I can go slower, go free. Well, I can kind of relate to that. But lately, I've been running up in the trails and it's so snowy and like it's been affecting my pace. And I'm trying to be like, it's okay. It's a lot of elevation change, so I'm not taking advantage of the downhills. And I'm basically just recovering, catching my breath on the downhills. And it's snowy, so even when I can move, it's not very fast. And these are supposed to be easy runs, so don't worry if the paces are getting a little bit slow. Sometimes I have to remind myself too, So I know the feeling. Jason says, Smart Wool has been my savior for sweaty winter running. Or is it a mental justification for how much I've spent on Smart Wool? I think that the Smart Wool, like the new materials that are out there, I mean, I think it was last year and to a small degree the year before that, I started like messing around with those. And at first I was like, I don't really get it. Because the first things that I tried were the cheaper options, like the socks, which I'm unconvinced on socks. and on like neck gaiters and like hats and like face coverings. And I don't like the new like wool type materials, the ones that are supposed to be like moisture wicking but still warm. Like I don't feel like that makes a big difference for me. But I have a couple of long sleeve shirts this year that have those kinds of materials in them, and I'm like, oh, these are keeping me a lot warmer, so I could wear a lot less when I'm out there. And I feel like that's been good for like some of my workout runs. So like I'm a convert, but not for everything. For some things, I think. Um, mm, Jody says, funding the police, I don't get it. Don't taxes pay for them and you have no say? Well, this is a small town here when we're talking about defunding the police, like on a local level. This is a small town here, and they had one police officer for a while. I think the police officer was part-time. And they decided they like in the town budget, they were like, we don't want to pay for it anymore. I don't know what happened to the police car or like any of the equipment and stuff, but I wonder if that stuff gets like sold to other small towns that are looking for like used inventory or whatever. But yeah, they just decided that they weren't going to fund it. There's also no public library in this town because it's really, I mean, it's a town of 300 people. So, well, my mother-in-law says 300, but I thought it was closer to 500 or 600. But in either event, it's a really small town, no traffic lights. So, they they pick and choose what they do and don't want to pay for. So that's what I mean by they defunded the police like 2 or 3 years ago. Let's see what else we got here. The CV76 says Kofuzi is the honorary sheriff. No. I mean, this is a place where there's like what is it called? Like there is a posse. This is posse justice territory out here. I mean, like there are. I mean, everyone bands together in this place. So, yeah. I mean, it's a town of good people. Some of them are a little bit misguided and confused right now, but it's a town of good people. And so, yeah. I'm certainly not the sheriff. No one would ever let me be in charge. So there's that. Sheila says, "Do you think Peloton would be a good supplement for running? Would you review?" Yeah, I mean, I do think it is. I think cycling is a really great supplement for running. I think that for people that aren't obsessed about Strava weekly mileage numbers as I am, that cycling is a great way to increase your overall aerobic fitness without like putting a lot of extra pounding on your joints. And so like people talk about like how do you increase mileage? How do you get, I mean, increasing mileage is a way of figuring out how do you build more aerobic fitness. And so like cycling is a really great way of doing that. So I think it would be a great way to supplement it. But like Peloton, so that's cycling. But like Peloton though, I mean, Peloton is more like workouts and stuff. So I mean, there it's a little bit different. So I'm not sure about like cycling workouts, depending on what kind of running you're doing and what like where you are in terms of like your running plans. It could be. I mean, I think overall my answer would be yes. Would I review it? I suppose. I mean, I'm not going to buy it myself and then review it. I'd rather ride a bike outside if I can, but yeah, and if I were to ride a bike outside, it would just be like, 2 hours, low heart rate. That's the kind of cycling that I want to do. So I don't know that I'd be the best person to review it. I was watching, what was I watching? I was watching like a review of it. I think like it was on YouTube. It was like the Washington Post or someone there was for like a major news organization, like a newspaper, was like, I rode Peloton every day for 2 weeks, and this is my review. And I was like, for real, 2 weeks? You rode a bike 14 times? Wow. I mean, I probably would not need to ride it 14 times to get like my idea of like how I like it. But I mean, I think the idea was like the implication was after 14 days, he pretty much had like gained the fitness gains he needed to be able to like talk about it. And I just thought that was weird, but that's a side note. But I mean, my wife and I talked about getting Peloton a couple of times, like at the beginning of the pandemic. She was interested in it. But we never ended up getting it. I'm assuming you mean Peloton cycling though. There's Peloton running now too, isn't there? I don't know. All right. Oren's here. Oren, hope you're doing well. Hopefully you're feeling good, and glad to see you here. Steven says, I miss swimming. All pool shut down because COVID. And the baby was like, Dad, remember when I used to go swimming? So I think that's like her way of expressing like that she misses it. And she said that yesterday. And so I think that the baby is like, it took her a while, maybe about like a month ago, 2 months ago, probably about 2 months ago. I think she started realizing like things are very different now. And this isn't just like a really long vacation at grandma's house. Like things are weird and she's not being able to do things. So it finally occurred to her. I mean, I'm probably not giving her enough credit. She probably knew right away, but yeah, like 2 months ago, she really started to vocalize certain things. And yesterday she was like, remember swimming, Dad? I was like, I do remember swimming. So that was that. Christian says, what happens if you do Peloton in front of the other weird workout training mirror thing? I don't know. I think it would be like Hal, and it would turn off the oxygen in the room if you did that. Or it'd set all the Roombas after you. That's what it would do. And Sheila did mean cycling as far as Peloton cycling. Yeah, I think that, I think it's a good, I think it could be a good supplement, especially for people that are looking for cross training days, but I haven't tested out how rigorous the workouts are. And so I think that with how rigorous I anticipate that they are, I think that they probably would not be a good recovery day activity or a cross training activity. But if you're going to use them instead of like one of your workout days, I think that could probably work too. Again, I think it would be good for building up different levels of aerobic and anaerobic fitness without putting a lot of stress on the joints. And Vegan Runner says, get the kicker bike, Co. It's so good. Yeah, I kind of want to get one of those. I think I want to get a smart trainer because we have that like spin bike that we got. But I think that like for me, we brought it here from Chicago. I haven't used it a single time. And I think part of that is like, I just feel like it's very disconnected from using like Zwift. And I really like Zwift. And I'd like to have something where it's like, it automatically changes intensity. And I have something to kind of like guide me rather than me just kind of like pedaling for a while. I don't know. For some reason, like just pedaling in the basement seemed like really unappealing, but like pedaling in the basement with a computer that changes the intensity for me like periodically seems really appealing. And I don't know. I don't know what that says about me, but yeah. Stevie76 says, should have worked the local paper route on the bike. No, I do not have like the mental fortitude to do a local paper route around here. My father-in-law is so hard on the newspaper delivery people. Like, he gets really riled up if it's not there when he goes out to check for the paper at like 5:30 in the morning. So, and I'm envisioning that he's probably not the only one. So like, I don't think I can handle that kind of stress, to be honest with you. And Cooper says, have you seen the Vaporfly Next Percent 2s? Yeah, I saw some images of them, like I want to say a couple weeks ago, but I've lost all track of time. So it might have just been a couple days ago. And it looked like a pretty mild update, which, and I saw some more images on Instagram today. And again, it just looks like a pretty mild update. It looks like there's something different going on in like the toe cap. I don't know if they're tweaking the Zoom X foam formulation in it, or there's something like under the hood that's happening that's different. But as far as I can tell, it looks the same, which I think is a good thing because I don't think they need to really like mess with the Next Percent. It's a great shoe. So, people are still picking it as their race shoe, even though there is the Alpha Fly and then other options as well. So like, I think it's a smart move. And it's kind of positioning the Next Percent as that like half marathon racer that can go the marathon distance or can go even shorter than that, and leaving the Alpha Fly as kind of like your marathon distance shoe. So like they have those two different like kind of like mileage points, which I think makes a lot more sense rather than having like two super shoes that like both kind of are trying to do the same thing. And it's just a matter of preference, really. I think it makes more sense to be like, this one's for even longer distances. This one's for when, you're up towards threshold. I'm not sure that's how they're doing it, but that's how in my mind I'm starting to see it. Kevin Scott wants to know if I'm interested in getting the Puma DV8 Nitro, carbon plated Puma. It's supposed to have a Hyperburst / DNA Flash-esque midsole. I'm not. Is it? I've seen some images of it. Because I thought isn't Puma have the stuff that looks like Boost? Or is this DV8 Nitro a different foam entirely? I mean, if you're saying it's like a Hyperburst type of foam, then it definitely must be a different. But it's interesting. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not like rushing to buy it. But I mean, Puma's making some moves, at least in terms of the athletes they're sponsoring. Like they're getting more non 100 meter runners or like track runners. So it's becoming more interesting to me because I want to see like, what are they going to run in every day? Like I've been following Morgan McDonald's YouTube channel. Do you guys follow him? He runs for Under Armour. And I was just like, what does he even run in all the time? The Sonic 3? Really? Does he? And I think he does. I think that's one of the shoes that he runs in. So like I'm like super curious to see like what a professional runner would actually pick of those, or is he just going to be like, I'm going to run in the racing flats every day, or at least when I'm on camera? Like I don't know. So like I'm not sure about this DV8 Nitro. I mean, if someone sends it to me, I'll take a look at it. But it's not on my list of things I want to rush out and get. At least not right now. We'll see. It might be one of those shoes that I sleep on. Luis Becerra says, is the Kinvara 11 worth it at $75? Oh yeah, I would say that's definitely nice. So I'll go for that. Set Nomad says, what happened to Puma anyway? They used to have great shoes. Used to enjoy the Fast series years ago. I don't know what happened to Puma. I think the only Pumas I ever had were like they were like suede, just casual shoes. I think they were supposed to look like the Adidas shoe, the Sambas, like the indoor soccer shoes. They had shoes that looked like kind of like that, kind of like Chuck Taylor's. I had pairs that were like, it was like blue and it was actually blue suede, I think, if I remember correctly, with a white Puma stripe. That was like in high school, so that was a long time ago. But yeah, I don't know. I think Puma and Fila were hanging out. That's what I kind of think happened. But I mean, I think Puma's making some moves. So I don't know if like there's new ownership or what that's making that charge or what. Adam Hobson says, do you use a massage gun? I love mine. I do from time to time. I don't do it regular. I kind of just like static stretching or just like, I don't know, like moving around. Like, I don't know what to call what I do. But every once in a while, I'll just kind of like do like a mobility check, like what feels funny. And I'll just kind of like do like weird old man stretches, like in the middle of the kitchen kind of thing. I don't know. It reminds me a lot of like what my dad used to do when he was like my age and younger. And I'd just be like, Asian dads are so weird. And so now I'm doing like the same thing. So, but that's kind of like the majority of my recovery is figuring out what feels tight and then like figuring out a way to move it in a way that makes it not feel tight. That's like my main thing lately. I don't even really like foam rolling that much anymore. But I do every once in a while if I get a spot that's like, ooh, this is a spot that needs some attention, then I'll bust out the massage gun. Carlos wants to know if I've seen the new EndoSpeed 2. I don't think I have. I've only seen the like the retro pack. I don't know what are they calling it? The heritage pack? What are they calling it? The old school like Sauconys. I've seen those. Is that what the Endorphin Pro? Because I saw like the Endorphin Pro with that like navy color. Is that a new Endorphin Pro or is that just the same Endorphin Pro but with new colors? And then like, but they also have that in like the Freedom 4 in that color. So I don't know if like. I don't know what Pro I was looking at. I think I was probably looking at the Endorphin Pro 1, but I don't know that I've seen an Endorphin Pro 2, Endorphin Speed 2. And Daniel Listone wants to know, have I seen the new Adidas shoes, the Boston Adizero Adios 2? I don't think I've seen a Boston 10. I'm pretty sure I haven't. Adizero Adios 2, I've seen like someone's been there have been like sketches of it circulating around that make it look really weird and not like very much not Adidas racing. Yeah. I'm not that excited about the look of them. Because I love the look of the Adizero, just the regular Adios Pro. For the Adios 2, I mean, the one was great. So interesting to see what they do for the number 2. It looks like there's a lot of changes, which is surprising to me. Let's see. Teddyman Tactico says Seth doesn't recommend the Infinity Run 2. I saw that he had a video about that. That he thought there's some sort of defect in there or something. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to watch that one yet. That's interesting. Mark Chancoco says, I hope the next peg, the 38, comes with all ZoomX. That'd be interesting. I don't think so. I don't know what's going on with the peg 38. I'm sure I know that there's people that do know. Because I'm sure they're already like made and being like mass produced as we speak. But my guess is that it's going to be potentially like either exactly the same, just an upper update, because that's how they used to do it. It used to be like 1 year was an upper update, the next year was the midsole change, and then like everything went like super rapid fire, like around 30 from like 34 on. Then it was like upper and midsole changed every single year, because then it was like heel unit Zoom Air, then heel and forefoot unit Zoom Air, then it was full length Zoom Air, and then it changed to React and Zoom Air in the forefoot. So I wonder if like in the 38 we get forefoot and heel unit Zoom Air, or full length Zoom Air, or just a retooled Zoom Air and a reformulated React. Maybe the React will be a little bit softer. That's what I'm hoping for, and maybe like a little bit thinner outsole rubber. And I think if they did that and enough, would be enough for me to make the 38 a big success. What would be interesting is if they made it like half React, half ZoomX. That would be really interesting. But I don't know. We'll see. I could be wrong, but I would not bet on all ZoomX Peg 38. Yeah. Especially, that explains why the ZoomX Invincible, though, if that were the case, is having a hard time launching on time, or the date had to push back because maybe they needed all the ZoomX for their Pegasus shoes, if that's the case. But I don't think so. Oh, Daniel said the Flyknit tongue slightly ripped when Seth put the Infinity on. Yeah, I have a feeling like Seth is really hard on his shoes when he puts them on. The other thing is, if it's Flyknit, why does it need a tongue? It should be booty. It's Flyknit. I think that the Infinity Rec too. I like Flywire cables, and I like Flyknit, and I like that it looks a little bit more old school overall in the shoe, and like in the upper. But I just think that like Flyknit and a tongue don't really go together. If you're going to put a tongue, do what they did with the Odyssey React Flyknit, where it was like Flyknit in the toes, and then everything else was like a regular shoe. I don't know. So, that's crazy that it ripped. It shouldn't rip though. Crazy. Stevie76 with the super chat. Thanks so much, Stevie. You don't have to do that, but I appreciate it very much. Gas/snack fun. Have a safe trip back to Chicago. Well, I appreciate that very much. Driving right now, traveling anywhere for me feels like just jumping in a pool and holding your breath for a really long time. I just feel like you just don't want to have to stop, go inside anywhere, talk to anyone, interact with anyone. So I have some nerves about it, and I appreciate you thinking about us for this trip that we're going to be making. So thank you very much. All right. Chris says, do flies have tongues? I think they do. Like flies, like bugs, the bugs. Flies have very long tongues. I thought they did. Anyway. But Mark's agreeing with me. Thanks, Mark, for the backup. Says that's a good point about the Flyknit. It should be a booty style. I think it should be a booty style. I've been saying in every video on a Max Cushion shoe, it's like I don't need more puffiness in the tongue. I don't need memory foam in the heel collar. I could go with a little bit less. And so, but I don't know. What Nike did for this one was puffy tongue, foam in the collar. And I was just like, I liked it before last time, but I don't know. But I don't, they're not designing that shoe for my preferences. I think they're targeting something else. I'm not sure. Oren says, what do you think of Seth's 16-mile threshold runs? Yeah, I don't know what he must be defining threshold a little bit differently than I am. He's coached by Coach Wetmore, so like I don't know, he's got steezy runs too, so like the definitions are a little bit different, but like I feel like by definition you can't have a 16-mile threshold run. Otherwise, I mean, I don't know how that works, but I just feel it as like, you know, when I do threshold work, I try to stay right below threshold anyway. So I'm assuming that's what he's doing. And for him, 16 miles is like an hour and a half, maybe. So, I mean, I feel like that's a good amount that I think that he can do. It's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, is that after I did that stride training program, like the one that they had that subscription plan, you know, I noticed that everything that it did gave it me the workout in terms of on and off periods in time and power for the work and time and power for the rest. And then I've just been looking at everyone else's, like, when people post like what their training workouts were, you know, people are like 16-mile threshold run, you know, that ends up being like whatever that is for Seth, an hour and a half or however long it takes him to do that. And I'm like, oh, so like an hour and a half of work. Okay. That's starting to make a little bit more sense. Or when they have like a 22-mile run, I'm like, that doesn't take them 3 hours and 20 minutes. Like it might take me to do like an easy run for 20 miles. You know, or just to do a 20-mile run at like under 3 hours. They're not out there for that long. And who was I watching today? Oh, I was watching I Run 26.2. We talked about it the other day. The guy that's huge but super fast. He was doing mile repeats. And he wrote the workout as like, you know, mile repeats with 3-minute rest. And he did 5 of them. But his mile paces, or his paces for that workout, was 5 minutes. So really the workout was 5 minutes on, 3 minutes off. Right. And so like I've been trying to like dissect or like translate like other people's workouts in terms of like, all right, 5 minutes for that guy. That's not his mile pace, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to do 5 of them. So what is he doing? He's doing like a threshold workout, 5 minutes on, 3 minutes off. I did the threshold workout. I did 6 times 5 minutes with 2 minutes and 30 seconds rest in between. So I'm like, okay, we're doing the same workout. You know, mine are much slower than his, but so I'm trying to not think of other people's workouts in terms of miles anymore. I try to translate it to like, what's the minutes? And I think that's for me, that makes more sense in terms of understanding what they're really doing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just making too much of it, but I mean, he's fast. He's looking really strong. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. Is it the race tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow. Is it tomorrow, the race, or he's on the plane like now, I think. Anyway, Mike Huggins says, what's going on, Mike? Oh, look at all these colors here. This is like a colorblind test. Says, thanks for your, I'm talking, and for those listening, I'm talking about his like avatar picture. Mike says, thanks for your video on knee glute rehab. It was very helpful. He said he has similar issues, and you explained it simply and thorough. Well, I'm glad it's working out for people. Yeah, I've been. I mean, I didn't think that it would really like click with a lot of people. But people were asking for it, so I'm like, here it is. But I think hopefully it is helping people a little bit. The main thing that I hope it makes people do is start thinking, oh, maybe I should start Googling some of these symptoms and stuff, these things that I just thought I had to live with. Maybe there's something I could do about them. So that's like the main thing that I hope people get out of it. And Steven says, in terms of Seth ripping the tongue on his shoe, Seth clamps down his shoes hard. I mean, the other way to look at it is like he's like this little Superman, and he just tries to put on the shoe, and it's like, you know, he like just ripped it onto her because he's just so powerful. I like thinking that idea. And then I wonder, like, I mean, I guess I just need to watch the video, because I hope if that happened, like I hope True Love was there to be like, oh my God. Well, she wouldn't say, oh my God. She would say, oh my goodness, what happened to your shoe? I think that'd be great if that was the footage, but we'll see. All right. The Haas dog clearing up on the endorphin speeds that I've been seeing. Says the Saucony UK said that they're releasing new endorphin speed colorways in February, and that a V2 will be out later in 2021. Okay. So if I'm seeing those throwback versions, those are version 1s. That's a bummer, because that probably means then version 2s won't come back in those throwback colorways. But I want to have a set. Saucony did that to us last year too with the blackout colorways. Only some of the shoes came out in blackout, and then the rest of them didn't. I want a set. It'd make for a really nice video when if I'm like explaining the lineup, but they're always playing with my emotions like that. Let's see. Someone had a question about. Oh, here we go. Connor Atwood, Saucony Endorphin 3 or Nike Air Zoom Victory Flyknit. I don't know anything about spikes. I haven't put on a pair of spikes since 1998. So maybe 1999. So I don't know. I can't say a single thing. Gig76 says, I love your runs in the snow. I'm very jealous because here in New York it's not snowing anymore. Yeah, I mean, but New York gets a lot of snow, so it's coming. I would say probably. I wouldn't worry about it too much. La Pizza's here. This is one of my favorite like YouTube names, even though I can't say the second part, but it's a big picture of pizza, which makes me hungry for pizza every time I see it. And I just like saying La Pizza. Yeah, the comment is, if you see this comment, you're now hungry. That's so funny. Oh, so funny. Oh, Teddy Man Tactico got 15% sale voucher on the site. That's nice. That's cool. Cooper says, Endorphin Speed versus Hyperion Tempo versus Peg Turbo for a speed day shoe. I would probably go in that order. Endorphin Speed, Hyperion Tempo, Peg Turbo 2. But, I mean, I'd say that's a pretty close pack. I mean, that's a bunch that comes in like boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3. Those are all great. I wouldn't overthink it on that one because no matter what, you're going to make a right choice, you know? Jana says flies don't have tongues. I think it's more like a trunk, like an elephant has. But I mean, it's a proboscis, right? It's like a thing that sticks out. They don't call it a tongue because it's like a mouth-tongue combination, isn't it? I'm not sure. I don't know my bug anatomy very much. There was a short time where my older daughter was fascinated with insects and stuff, and I was like, cool. So we'll go to like the nature museum and we'll check out the bugs. Like they have like a whole display, like they're all mounted and stuff. And she was all about it. And anything about bugs she wanted to see and learn and figure it out. And then my parents went on a vacation to, I think they were in Thailand. And my dad sent back a giant, like one of those like cases that are like, it's framed, but it's like, it's deep. And it had all sorts of types of giant bugs in it. They were like that were mounted kind of like a museum display. And she sent, and my dad sent it to our house. And I just think it was too much. It just like was like one step too far. And then my daughter since then was like, bugs, nah, I'm okay. So my dad, I think, did us a favor. All right, what's going on up here? Let me scroll up for just a second. Something happened to Braveheart. Sorry to hear about that. It looks like did you get hit by a car, Braveheart, when you were out there cycling? Sorry. Yeah, I think it took a while to kind of nail that down. But it looks like you got hit by a car, man. Oh, here we go. Cyclists. Oh, cyclists keep hitting me while running. What are your thoughts to Mike Remy? Wow. Sorry about that. Braveheart. All right. And I saw something from Shannon. Here we go. Shannon says, just rewatched the Olympic Trials Atlanta video. Love it. When you go to capture an event like that, is it fun or is it stressful? It was super fun. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I made some friends and we all kind of like ran around together for a big part of it. So that was a lot of fun. And I got very fortunate because Polar had, like, I went down and talked to some of them. They had a big booth over at like the Atlanta Marathon Expo. So I talked to them there and met a whole bunch of people there. And they were like, hey, we've got one of these like VIP passes to like the tent that's right by the finish line. And so like the people that were in that tent were like the Atlanta Track Club, like board or whatever. And then some of the, like the title sponsors, like main sponsors, and like Polar was one of them. And so it was crazy to be in there. And there was like food and coffee and like a whole bunch of TVs and stuff. So that was really nice. So that's how I got some of that really great footage at the finish. And so I think my experience and the quality, the caliber of the footage would have been very different had I not had that access. But it was just super fun to go to, and I would love to be able to do more of that. But like but there's a certain point where I don't have the ability to do it like Billy Yang does. Like I don't have like I don't know. Maybe I don't have it, or maybe I've not tried it to like plan on like having multiple camera angles. I basically took advantage of the fact that it was a looped race. So I like just like jumped around a whole bunch and got a couple of different vantage points that way. And I've always basically got like two cameras at the same time. I like just hold the GoPro and hope it's getting a good shot. And then I'm holding my regular camera and trying to get the good shot with it that way. So that's like kind of what I'm doing to try to get as much footage as possible. Or I put the GoPro like on the ground and hope athletes will run really close to it without knocking it over, because that would be terrifying. But so that's kind of like what I was doing to film that one. And I mean, I think if there were another opportunity where, or even like a course like Chicago, where it's kind of like a Clover, there's lots of opportunities to see lots of people. I think that would be a lot of fun to try and film the elites there. But it's not something that I want to do like a ton more of. I'd like to do more of it. I think I would love to do it more if like some sort of like pro circuit emerges where the racing format is like the marathon project, where it's like 4 laps around like a 5-mile loop or horseshoe or whatever. Like that to me is very interesting, that I'd love to be able to participate in, or be on a team of people who are filming. I don't have to. I actually probably prefer it if I weren't in charge of all the logistics and I was just like in charge of like standing at a spot or a couple spots and getting footage. I think I'd like that. So I guess the answer is it's stressful in a way. Warren says, weird thought. Imagine this live stream, but we're all in a lecture hall shouting questions up at you. I think that's, remember in the before times, people like YouTubers were going on tour. And I feel like that's kind of like what, I don't know what they were doing, but I feel like that's kind of what they were doing. But I think there were like microphones and people would like walk up and it would be like big Q&As, but that'd be kind of fun. Yeah, to do it in a lecture hall. That's kind of what Ginger Runner did with Gary Robbins, right? Where Dreams Go to Die video. Didn't they tour that for a while? And so like they were like screening the movie in movie theaters and then having like Q&A sessions afterwards. So it's not that weird an idea. I'd rather have this kind of thing, like if it were live, to do it at like a marathon expo or at a running store before like a Thursday night group run kind of thing. That's what I'd love to do. If we're doing like this live, that'd be like my preferred format. All right, let me scroll down at the bottom. I got caught up in some of the other comments I missed earlier. Let's see. Teddy Man says, Kofuzi, did you notice that Strava writes the first letter of Adidas in small letter while Nike in capital in the gear section? Do they? Yeah, there's just weird capitalization that goes on, because some of them it's like all, I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's just, I wouldn't try to look too much into that. It just seems to be like haphazard, like helter skelter a little bit. Let's see. Oh, Mike House coming in with a super chat. Thanks so much, Mike House. I appreciate that. Ben Y says, is Ben Parks going to start live streaming, or did I just make that up? If so, Kofuzi's starting a trend for sure. He is. He mentioned that on his channel a couple of times, and he's like trying to get that dialed in and figured out. So definitely, I think he is going to do that. And someone else confirmed that down here in the chat, I think. Yeah, Paul says he's starting a live stream next week. Cool. I didn't start it. People have been doing live streams for a while. And before like shutdowns, I thought live streams were kind of not uninteresting. I didn't really find them all that compelling. But now that I'm doing one all the time, I'm like, oh, I love these. These are great. Oren McGowan says, do you think Mo Farah has a chance at medaling in Tokyo? I would say probably not. I don't know. Isn't he on like a reality show right now? Is that now? Or is that like he's on some sort of like get me out of here type of show? Isn't he? I mean, I think what probably happened was like now would have been after the Olympics, would have been a good time for him to do that kind of thing. Kind of like going on Dancing with the Stars after like a Super Bowl or something. But I'm guessing since I think what happened was the Olympics didn't happen, but the show is still happening. So he's doing it. He's not running. Like he's like not running right now, right? Am I wrong on that? That's my understanding of the situation. Yeah. Dill Fagami says, "What would be a good shoe for 10K to half marathon? I've been using Peg 36s for a while now." If you've been using the Peg 36, I mean, I think that like a Vaporfly 4%, or a Next percent would be great for 10K to half marathon if you want to stay in like the Nike territory. If you want to go carbon, that'd be probably the first two things that I would recommend for you if you're looking for 10K to half marathon. Otherwise, I think that like to give a couple other recommendations, I mean, the Adios Pro I think is great. But I also think that you can run in something like the Hyperion Tempo. If you want to go not carbon, you can go Hyperion Tempo or Boston 9, SL20. Those are some really great choices, I think, for those. The Endorphin Speed also, we've been talking about that. That would also be a great choice. Jody coming up with the fly anatomy. The end part of the proboscis is called the labellum that terminates in a spongy mouth. All right, so they don't have a nose. They have a proboscis. Is that what that means? I'm not sure. All right. Let's see. Let's do one more and then I get going because I got to take the kids down to their cousin's house. And we're going to play in the snow some more. I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted. I'm like just dragging myself around. But there's not too many more snow days left for us. All right. Let's see. Linton Wong says, Kofuzi, which road running socks do I like? I really like Stance right now. And Gingies are pretty good. The toe ones that are weird. Yeah, those are the ones that I like that are a little bit more expensive. Those are kind of my favorites right now. And then for cheaper ones, I like the Roadrunner Sports brand. They come in a 3-pack. You can get them in a variety of different padding. And they're, for running socks, relatively affordable. So, all right. Teddy Man Tactical says, how come Tokyo Shoes editions are always beautiful? It would have been such a fantastic Olympic season, wouldn't it have? Because what are they going to do? Are they going to have another Tokyo edition for all these shoes next year? I mean, I don't know. Or did they that was the budget for that year, and then are they going to have 2021 Tokyo editions? That's what I want to know. And how much do they change from? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens with all that. But yeah, Tokyo editions are not. And I just think that because Tokyo, I think brings out a lot for designers. Is my that would be my random just speculation. But I feel like it's a very creativity inspiring city. I think it can be. To people not living there, maybe. I don't know how it is for people living there. I've never met anyone that lives in Tokyo. Hopefully I get to meet someone soon. I don't think that'll happen for me, but anyway. All right. That's it for today. There's going to be no live stream tomorrow. I'll be at the summit, so I'm going to be doing that tomorrow, virtual summit. And then Sunday is our move day. So I think it's going to be just too stressful just trying to fit in a live stream. I don't know what's going to happen. But we will have videos on Saturday, maybe on Sunday too, but at least tomorrow there's going to be a video. And then next live stream will be Monday. I don't know if it'll be a Monday mukbang or not. Oh, the camera's already given up on me. Here we go. All right. I think we might have a Monday mukbang. We might not. I'm not sure, but we'll at least have a live stream 3 p.m. from Chicago. Hopefully, if all goes well. So hopefully I'll see you guys then. Hopefully I'll see you guys at this thing tomorrow. But otherwise, I'll see you guys Monday. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody.